swallow air. Then, Morty.
Can't do it. I got a little one, but how much air do you swallow? Do you swallow like a buttload?
Quite a bit.
No, I can't do it.
Morty.
I'm gonna like.
Don't die.
Okay, I was like gonna throw up. Hey guys, welcome to Two on the Vine. This is KY with my good friend Vinny. How are you doing, Vinny?
I'm Vinny, and that's
Are
KY.
you Vinny? Wait, did we fuck this up? Are you sure? Let me check. No, my skin's white. No, this is KY. I'm pretty sure. Okay.
All right. So I'm Vinny. That's KY, and this is Two on the Vine. And wait, you said that?
Yeah, I did. Were you not listening?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking, KY.
All right, we're gonna jump into this because we have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Because it's a gamer Christmas time, which is E3, which this year was pretty good. I think it's the best E3 we've had in quite a while.
I've been reading some stuff, and I've been lately thinking about E3. And even though I thought it was a good E3, there is a lot of overhype.
Yeah,
and I think that's something we're going to talk about a little bit later. Overhype syndrome.
Sure.
And I think I want to talk about we're going to talk about what we liked and what was clearly just fuel for the hype machine. And also we're going to talk about some of the embarrassing moments as well. So should be interesting.
Good. So we're going to do a very brief listener's mail just to throw you a little bone here as a little segment. There wasn't a lot of mail anyway. So we got from Rosello. Vinny, whenever you do an impression of someone, especially David Bowie, you make my mum cry. Please stop.
I don't know what you're talking about, Rosello. You've got lots of issues in your life, and my David Bowie makes your mum cry. That must be a very difficult problem. I'll be sure to remember you when I go to space with your mum.
When I hear your David Bowie, it's very late Bowie, like, actor David Bowie. With a deeper voice. Like in my mind, when I think of Bowie, I think the higher register early Bowie is what defaults to. And
that's fine. That's that's good because that's classic Bowie. My Bowie is more like Flight of the Conchords Bowie, like where they made fun of his voice and that. Yeah. So yeah, it's just a rip off of that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rosello.
Unconquered Fun writes, I have a question for both of you since you both deal with a fair bit of music, though probably especially more to Vinny. Have you heard of OC Remix? They have plenty of various tracks going on, remix projects of video games, to the point where they did the soundtrack for the HD makeover of Street Fighter 2 a few years back.
I haven't heard of it. I think some people have told me about it, but I'm a little bit bad when it comes to checking out stuff unless it's kind of by accident. So no, I haven't listened to it, but the name sounds super familiar. So
yeah.
How about you?
It's a shame he didn't ask me the question because I've heard of OC Remix. But
you would have been able to answer the question.
I would have been able to relate to you and provide insight, but it's especially for you, so I can't.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. One thing I did want to say, speaking of remixes, have you played NecroDancer since it launched fully?
No, I haven't.
So it fully launched 1.0 out of early access, and it's really fantastic. They added like cutscenes, like really good, tasteful cutscenes, like an actual story and a good sense of progression. And they included 2 full-blown remix tracks. Like one is a really good metal composer, so he put all the tracks into metal style. And you can switch to it at any time. And then another one, the metal one's Family Jewels, and then the other one is 8-Bit Pimp, which kind of like, hard to describe, a totally different style, but really nice. But as a music person, first off, as a gamer and a music person, I would recommend going back to NecroDancer for you, so that you can see how different it is with 1.0, and so you can hear those remixes, because I think you'll like how it adapts to the stylistic change.
I can dig it.
Yeah,
I think you've inspired me. I think I might check it out, and it's been a while too. I mean, I played the game last like 6 months ago, maybe more. So yeah. I'm kind of curious to see what's new.
Yeah, they added. It's really nice what they've added, and in launch, it's a great game. They added the final zone. You can actually beat the game now, which is nice.
Oh wow. Cool.
And they toned down Zone 3 a little bit to make Zone 4, to make the progression, the difficulty curve a bit smoother.
Thank God.
Yeah. Peer Gaming wrote in with this really nice story relating to last podcast. We asked people about their first gaming experiences, and Peer Gaming wrote this huge Wall of China text about his experiences growing up and his dad bootlegging games for his Xbox and him not being oblivious to it as a kid when your parents do illegal shit. This is just a nice story. I can't touch on it much more here because it's so long, but with his permission, I think I'll put a paste bin of it in the show notes. So watch out for that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, E3. I guess that closes out listeners' mail. Before we jump into E3, if you want to send us a listeners' mail, we try to do it every podcast, and you can email 2onthevinecast@gmail.com. That is the number 2onthevinecast@gmail.com.
Oh man, you should have asked me because I totally would have got it right this time.
Yeah. Oh, would you? Were you prepared for that?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
But maybe I could have remembered if pressured. But yeah, so you should email us though, guys. And if they're music questions, KY is also pretty musical. So
Yeah.
you don't have to direct it specifically towards me just because I talk about music way too much during my streams.
I think it's kind of funny
definitely
though.
let KY know.
It's it's almost a running joke. This question's for Vinny. It's about music. It's a good one. I kind of like that. I don't know. I think that could be a thing. That could be a meme. I could pitch you that meme, Vinny.
Pitch it to me, bro.
As Aisha Tyler or Aisha Tyler would say, I could pitch you that meme.
It could be Captain Picard yelling, as they said. I was like, wait a minute, no, don't bring Captain Picard into this. He's not meme. He's not like the meme captain. He's just it's just like one of his screenshots of his face got turned into a meme. But he's not like, oh, I watched Star Trek Next Generation. He's a meme.
No,
it's not quite like that.
He got pitched. He pitched that meme right to the internet. They were like, approved. Meme approved.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Yep. Last bit of housekeeping. I believe our next episode, which should be episode 9, this is episode 8. Our next episode will be our long-awaited live podcast. We're going to do this. Did you want to do it on your channel or mine? I was thinking mine, and I'll explain why, but what do you think?
We could do it yours, and then I can tell everyone to join us, and I can host us.
Okay, sounds good. I was going to say, the subs on my channel, the fat stacks of Twitch money I make from my subscribers, it pretty much all goes towards hosting this podcast. So make sure you tune in. That's why I wanted to do it on my channel. So definitely tune in. I think we're going to do it on, let's see, July 6th, I think is the tentative date. But keep an eye on our Twitter, which is at 2onthevine, again, the number 2. And we'll tweet about it as it gets closer. And it will be probably, 8 p.m., we'll say, for now.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have some tweets, and we'll let you guys know for sure. But I feel like the closer the date comes, the more we'll be, cognizant of what's happening.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm not even sure where I am half the time. So by the time we get there, we'll be there.
So yeah, next episode, the live 2 on the Vine. We'll just, we'll field questions from the chat. We'll talk for, an hour and a half, waste everyone's time, and it'll be a great night.
I think it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So E3 this year, I forget if I said this on, I did say this while we were live, but I think it was one of the better E3s that we've had in a while. Not perfect, but still pretty exciting in a lot of ways. What do you think?
I was disappointed in a number of ways, but we did get to see some cool stuff. Like I said, my favorites, Fallout 4, definitely was just a great presentation. The Nintendo World Championships were fun. There was a lot of good moments, a lot of cool announcements. Everyone was hyped about Final Fantasy VII announcement. So I enjoyed it. It was just fun to watch the spectacle of it. However, as I distance myself from it more and more, I think about the bullshots. I think about the overhyped.
Right.
We don't know when this game is coming out, but here's a thing. Take a look.
Yeah. I mean, the big difference between Sony and Nintendo's was exactly what you just talked about. Sony pretty much gave us a bunch of really exciting, unexpected stuff, and that hyped everyone to shit. Um, but none of those had any kind of release window. Every single one was just like, it will be available in your lifetime, you know? And it was exciting. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Last Guardian, finally. That's very exciting, especially
I need
as
to
in...
talk to you about that.
Yeah,
We need
sure.
to discuss that soon, but continue.
Well, on the other hand, Nintendo didn't have a lot of surprises. You know, no alarms, no surprises. Just it announced the games that a lot that we were expecting, a couple new ones, and most of it said you can expect these either late 2015 or early 2016. So although it wasn't very hype filled, it was exciting in the sense that I was like, sweet, I'll be able to play most of these things at like a tangible time period. You know,
Yeah.
who knows when we're gonna play Final Fantasy VII Remake? It'll probably come out for PlayStation 5. I mean, let's be realistic here.
Yeah.
Or I mean, they're due for a new gimmick with their console names, the PlayStation NX.
Yeah, the PlayStation NX. I can't wait for that 2017 hype.
Yeah.
No, really though, I believe that Final Fantasy VII. My theory, and I'll stick with it, is that it will have a holiday 2017 release.
I think
So-
that's realistic. I mean, they presumably have been working on it for a while now, but who knows? Maybe they just made that cutscene, and that's all they got right now. For all we know, I mean, we know so little about it, and I feel that up to this point they've been actively shunning the idea of a remake. Like they've been saying over and over, "Don't get your hopes up, don't get your hopes up." And I think because of that, that's more of a clue that they have not been working on it for too long. That's probably more just that cutscene that they showed us, and then you know, as their finances go down the shitter due to not bad but underwhelming games, one after another, they had to do something desperate. It's the trump card they've been saving for all we know.
And I agree with that. And my friend Mike, his reaction immediately, without even thinking, was desperation.
Yeah,
And like again, I'm streaming Final Fantasy VII, and I am a defender of the game when most people give it a lot of shit.
yeah,
And I say that the game is pretty good, but the question I have to keep asking the more I play this game, is this a story we really need retold? It barely makes sense to begin with.
I think. Yeah, go on.
No. I mean, it's frustrating for me because I don't know if it's something. It's just the overwhelming popularity of this game in the series is why we're getting a massive remake. But there's just better Final Fantasy games.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it gives me a few thoughts. Like, for one, what made me really love Final Fantasy VII was the world. Like, the story, it fooled me when I was young. I was like, this story is, A plus plus plus
Plus.
plus plus
Plus.
plus. But really what really stood the test of time for me was the world. I really like the world. I like the variety of things that you're doing, the variety of locales that you're exploring. So I think you're exactly right. It's not a story that needs to be retold, but as a world to be re-represented in a modern style, I think is something that I can get behind. I like what they did with the trailer. Like, if I'm just taking the trailer at face value, I like the mood. It feels like Midgar feels the way I feel Midgar should have always felt from the trailer. As much as I have nostalgia love for the original Midgar. Now, here's the part that worries me. Based on the dialogue in the trailer and the new focus on adding new story segments that they talked about in interviews, they said we're going to add some more story. And the dialogue saying this story needs to be retold. I think that you're right, that it's going to focus more on retelling the story rather than fleshing out the world. I could see, for the sake of constraints, them cutting a lot of things. Like, I could see them cutting the Don Corneo's mansion. I could see them cutting, what else? Like, just some of the more...
They've claimed that they're not cutting Don Corneo. In
Really?
fact, yeah, Nomura said cross-dressing Cloud will be in the game.
Oh, well, and then I stand corrected. I hope they cut as little as possible in lieu of streamlining the story.
I just hope that we don't get like this weird, gimped version where you just walk through corridors like Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah.
Where it's like, here's one story segment, walk through here, and then you walk through here, and then here's the illusion of freedom. Like if they keep it with a world map, the high wind, they remake all the towns to look the way they're supposed to look. I'm happy with that. Then I'd be great with it. But I mean, we just saw Midgar, which is one of the coolest parts of the game, and a very memorable location. But
Hmm.
it's only a small percentage of Final Fantasy VII.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I feel it's kind of like, how are they going to do it? Either they do what you said, which was like Final Fantasy 13ify it, make it all corridors, or mostly corridors, other than a few, select locations, and streamline the story that way. Or they're actually going to put the effort into really making the world as fully explorable as it was in the original. But how are they going to do that in a reasonable time frame, given the ambition of the style of it? I mean, at
Yeah.
the same time, we clearly saw a cutscene. We don't know what the actual in-game art will look like. It might not look quite that dynamic and quite that good. So we really don't know. For all we know, it might have still shots like to kind of harken back to those pre-rendered backgrounds, just more alive, which would be, I think, awesome. Or it might have that movable camera, but how can they do that in a reasonable time frame? Unless they have been working on it for a while, but I somehow doubt it.
I don't think they have been. But I mean, they've been working on it at least, I would say, at least 6 to 9 months. That's my guess, because they have, some substantial stuff, and they know which direction they're going to take, apparently. But I mean, there's so many different kind of variables, like you said, and really what it comes down to for me is, if you're going to do pre-rendered, you could have just done an HD remake. But this is a retelling. This is, it seems like they're really going from the ground up.
Yeah.
And they're not just saying, okay, we're going to go over and we're going to repaint the whole game with better polygons and better background
Yeah.
graphics.
Yeah. I hate how many people I've seen on the internet the last few days calling it an HD remake, or sorry, an HD remaster. Like, to me, that's
It's not.
just ignoring what what it is, or just being ignorant of like what that word means, HD
Exactly.
remaster. But so I'm gonna present two things to you, and you tell me emotions that you feel. You ready?
Sure.
New side quests can revive Eris, or maybe even just alternate story path that keeps Eris alive.
I think that's interesting.
Do you feel good? Do you feel bad?
No, I don't. I don't like
What's
the
your gut
idea of it,
reaction?
though. My gut reaction is that the character was killed on purpose to
Hmm.
serve a greater story sense, and also to it was shocking when it happened. It's not so shocking now because we see characters dying all the time. But the thing about it is, in this case, I think it's necessary for Aerith. Sorry, I call it Aerith
That's fine.
because I renamed her in
Yeah,
my
that's fine.
playthrough. But the reason I think it's important for that character not to live is because it's a story element.
Yeah.
So if there was a side quest like a new game plus kind of thing, I'd be okay with it. And if they did bring her back or allow you to get her before the main story ends, it would feel a little weird to me. I don't think I love the idea of it.
Okay. Good. That's a very good answer. I think I agree. The only thing that comes to mind that would make me more receptive to that would be if they handled it the way Chrono Trigger handles the death of that character. I mean, I guess
Right.
spoilers for Chrono Trigger if anyone hasn't played it
Spoilers.
yet. But Chrono dies, and there's a side quest to bring him back, but you don't have to. The game definitely shoves you in that direction, but you can end the game anytime before that's done,
Hmm.
which makes Chrono's death very dramatic when you think about it. But but otherwise, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with your sentiment. I don't think it would quite fit. Here's the next scenario. Revive Eris DLC. Pay $5 for an alternate cutscene, and you can continue using Eris. Aerith.
You just made me angry. You
That
literally you just boiled my blood. And if Square did that, I would be livid. But you know what? I would buy it because I need to see. I would need to stream it, and then I would need to proceed to tear Square a new butthole. But you got to understand, you just said all wrong things. That whole sentence, everything in it was wrong.
That was the point. That was exactly what I was going for. So you ready for the bonus round?
Yes.
Bonus round is DLC Eris Revival. Vincent Valentine unlock $5. Yuffie Kisaragi unlock $5.
This podcast is over.
All right, it was great. I'll see you guys at the live cast in 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. That's seriously, that is something that I don't think Square would do. But
No, they wouldn't.
I could, look, if it was a new game and it was made by certain companies who shall not go named right now, then that would seem pretty likely.
Yeah.
And that's sad that you're even saying stuff like this. That could be, that could be a thing.
Yeah,
So,
like if it were a few years ago, that would be a joke hands down. Now it's just mostly a joke. Clearly satire, but satire because it's making a point instead of a parody.
it's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. The very last one. I'll try to do a middle ground here. Let's consolidate the shitty DLC machine with something acceptable. You ready?
Yeah.
DLC skins for Cloud. So like you could be girly Cloud if you like dressed as a girl if you pay $1, or maybe Lightning Cloud because you have the Cloud Lightning. They got to reverse it too, and Japan is such a boner for Lightning. So you have Lightning Cloud. You have I don't know, Sephiroth Cloud. $1
I see
for
where
each
you're
skin,
coming from.
of course.
Yeah, look, Hyrule Warriors. I was playing that, and you get like 3 skins or 2 skins for $1, and it's literally that. And I don't buy those.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that's a fine thing to do. If you're gonna go for the DLC, I'm okay with that. Look, if you want Cloud to look like a girl, and you want to spend $1 on it, I think that's up to you. But
Yeah.
as long as it's not a gameplay thing, like don't give me extra story, don't give me extra characters that were already in the game. But yeah, to modify the look of a character is fine by me.
Yeah, I mean, don't give me materia slots in Cloud's ponytail.
Here, spend 50 cents and get an extra 2 materia slots per character.
Oh my god. I mean,
That's a bargain.
that is
to be
kind
honest.
of, I mean, they did the whole experience thing with the PC port, you remember? You could pay for the experience boost.
That, you know what? I forgot about that.
I forgot about it too until just now, and holy shit. What a world we live in.
I don't know if I like that because, I mean, yeah, I know that you don't have to do it intellectually. I'm fully aware. But instead of like picking up a player's guide and learning how to like grind the best enemies and get the best stuff, now you just have to spend a few bucks
Yeah.
and you'll get past the part. So
Yeah.
like you'd call your friends to come over. Hey, can you help me with this? Instead, no. I'm just going to give like $10 to Square and they'll help me with this.
Yeah, in a way that makes sense given the game's current design, but only at the concession that that design is shitty. You shouldn't ever have to grind in a game like Final Fantasy VII.
No, you
and-
should. It should be optional.
Yeah, I mean, and you really shouldn't have to. There are a couple of tough bosses, but I don't think they did that intentionally to extend playtime like they do with other games. Like, what comes to mind is the Demon Wall in Temple of the Ancients. I remember grinding for that. I remember grinding for the Robo guy in the underwater reactor. He always gave me trouble, and I don't know why. I don't know
Remember
how it
that.
was with
I
you.
know who you're talking about.
With the
I
two
remember
giant
both
arms.
bosses.
Yeah. And they both always give me trouble whenever I play. But,
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you just play the game, and if you can't play well, the old school RPGs you would grind. But if they're giving you the option to buy it, you can buy the grind.
yeah.
I don't know if I love that, but I don't have to do it, so I'm okay with it, I suppose.
And then, by the time the remake comes out, we'll be all on board for Final Fantasy 2 or 7-2. Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah. I mean, did you ever
7-2.
play any of the other entries into the compilation, like Crisis Core or anything like that?
Yeah, I played Crisis Core.
You played Vincent's game.
I streamed Vincent's game, which
Dirge of
was
Cerberus.
Burge of Berberus. Yeah. Herp of Erlus.
Yeah, I never played that one. I played a little bit of Crisis Core, and while I liked seeing the world that I fell in love with in a higher resolution, I think they did a pretty good job. I did not like how side missions were structured, how numerous they were, and monotonous they were, and that you needed to do them to get the badass true ending. I didn't like that. I didn't like the slots in in the battle system itself.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, like slots are a weird thing to put in battle systems like that, especially since slots determine when you would level up, so they rigged the slots so that you would level up regularly. But if they're going to do that, why represent it in such an arbitrary way as slots? Why don't they just tell you, you leveled up? Why do they need some slots to align at pre-programmed intervals to be like, well, you leveled up because the slots say so?
I don't know, but there was, there was a lot of slots in Final Fantasy. Like Setzer had slots, I believe, in 6. In 7, Tifa's got slots with her limit break.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
true.
What is it? What is Square's obsession with slot machines?
But see, in those contexts, I'm fine with it because they're such minor parts. It's almost just like a little flavoring for those characters. And to me, I was fine with that because it was just, like I said, it's flavoring. It's a different way of representing things and creating a small system for those characters. And they were proper systems. It's not like in Crisis Core where it just, you level up at set points and they arbitrarily represent it with slots that are present in every single battle. To have it permeate the core mechanics that closely and to mean so little,
it's
that
dopey.
It's weird. It's really weird. It gives me weird feelings in my...
Yeah, I don't love it. But the game itself was okay.
Yeah.
But I'll bring us back to where we started just for the sake of brevity. It's that Final Fantasy VII is an interesting game. And I'm playing it again right now as not right now, but, I'm streaming it. And I really enjoy it for a lot of reasons. But I never felt like we needed a complete reimagining, complete retelling of this particular story.
Yeah. Yeah, me
but
neither.
The fans have spoken, and Square's bank account has spoken, and the stock holders, the shareholders, rather, they were like, "Oh, this is great," and now like Square stocks are like went up, and everything's great for them right now, and everyone's hyped about Square. And meanwhile, I don't know if I've played a Square game in the past 10 years that I actually loved. Maybe there was a few good ones, few decent ones, but I just haven't been interested.
Yeah.
Like, I know I didn't even watch the Square conference this year. Was there one?
There was, I believe, but I didn't catch it. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what was in it. I know they announced... Oh, wait, no, that's not true. I know a couple things. They announced a game called Worlds of Final Fantasy, and I don't remember what it was. They announced...
Kingdom Hearts, right?
Did they? I don't know. I guess so. I guess so, yeah. They had to have. But, yeah, I mean, nothing... I know... No, this wasn't from Squaresoft. I was going to say there's Nier 2, but that's not Squaresoft, I don't think. But what was I going to say about Final Fantasy VII Remake? Nope, I lost it. It's a remake we didn't necessarily need, and now people can petition to stop development on it, so it's okay.
Well, speaking of, let's go right into that topic.
Sure.
So, Nintendo had a pretty disappointing conference, as a lot of us that watch the streams over at Vinesauce can attest to. We a lot of people that are listening to this right now are probably well aware that Nintendo did not have a whole lot.
It just felt underwhelming, really. I think the more you think of it as everything in that conference is in a tangible time frame, like I said earlier, then it's better when you think of it that way. You think, oh, anything that I saw in that conference I can get my hands on really soon. I can get Yoshi's Woolly World really soon. I can get Metroid Prime Federation Force really soon. I can get any of those things. The new Zelda game looks really good. The Four Swords one. The Four Swords-esque one.
Four Swords minus purple. So it's just three swords or Triforce Heroes, I believe it's called.
Oh, that makes sense. I didn't catch that whole thing. I had to do something just for those few minutes right when they started, but I caught the latter half of that. But yeah, Nintendo's it felt underwhelming, especially off the heels of Sony's idealistic "here are games that you will play someday" thing.
Right. Someday.
Yeah.
Someday.
Emphasis on someday.
That's the thing. Like, okay, so we'll get back into that in a second, but the petition to cancel Metroid Prime Federation Force was a result of people who were so while I agree it's a good thing that Nintendo focused on games that are coming out soon, they left a lot of us high and dry. A lot of us who watch E3 do love hype, and the hype machine is what fuels E3, and it makes the conference exciting for people. Nintendo didn't have a lot of that.
Yeah.
So that's why they kind of walked away with some disappointment and disappointed fans. But Metroid Prime Federation Force is basically a co-op game that is on 3DS that has like this weird chibi style of like mechs that
Yeah.
like these Federation soldiers jump into, and you just like co-op together and kill monsters. Somewhat like probably a dumbed down version of Borderlands,
Yeah.
like a very dumbed down version. But the point is that Metroid fans, myself included, were upset because it's like, oh, we haven't had a new Metroid game in 5 years, and we get Metroid Prime Federation Force with balls. There's
Yeah.
a soccer game where you can blast the ball
Ball
around,
blast.
and that to me was a little disappointing. For some people, it was so disappointing that they had to have a petition to cancel the game, which is mind blowing.
Yeah, I mean, as I was just as disappointed as you were with Federation Force. I feel that Other M was a disappointment and a letdown, and they know it was a letdown. And what they should have done if they wanted to still make money out of Metroid was refocus it back to what made Metroid so good. Other M was a bit of a change, and that change let them down. But nope, they decided to go in the other direction and change it even more. They were like, nope, we didn't change it enough. We need Federation Force. You got to play as the Federation fighter chibi mechs.
Yeah,
And
chibi
go
mechs,
shoot
please.
the ball around. And it just didn't look good. It looked kind of shitty, like both in concept and in execution. But despite all that disappointment, a petition to end development on that game is about the most entitled bullshit I've heard in forever. Like,
It has, as of this podcast, 19,000 supporters.
my God. Like, and what do they expect is going to happen? Nintendo's going to see that 100,000 people out of the potential million, units or whatever that they can push are not going to buy it. Do they expect,
I think that's what they're hoping, yeah.
do they expect that, we made 100,000, let's send it to Nintendo. Bob Nintendo sees it, and he says, cancel Metroid Prime Federation Force. It's a waste of time.
Cancel it, and let's start all over again.
Yep.
And we'll make it the way they wanted to on the petition.
They'll
I don't know why he
retell.
sounds like that, but he's got hernias.
They'll retell the story. They'll say, one day there was a time on planet Zebes when we all looked to the sky. And there were stories told of a mystical bounty hunter that came to the planet.
And a reunion
A
that made
reunion.
all of us cloud for judgment. And it's like...
And it just shows
Sorry.
like a picture of, the Super Metroid box art of shooting Red Ridley, and it says remake under in giant letters.
Yeah.
That's what would have sold,
If they did that and they had like this really insane... Like, look, okay, the Final Fantasy VII trailer was perfect for hype because
Yeah.
you didn't know what it was just yet. Like, you would watch... Okay, so Nintendo, if they made like a Metroid trailer in a similar way where like you're seeing like space stuff, you're seeing like ships, you're seeing like, explosions, and then you see some like weird like planet that you can't really identify, and then you see, oh, wait a minute, that might have been... That looks like something from Super Metroid almost. Right? And then slowly the camera pans out a bit, and then you see another clue. It's like, I think I just saw the very like tip of a Metroid scrotum. Oh my God. I think this is a Metroid game. And then you find out you see the back of Samus's suit, like in her arm cannon, and then it cuts to black. Super Metroid remake coming 2018.
Ultra
And
Metroid.
The funny thing about that is, as much as we like to joke about it, that would have blown the roof off of Nintendo's conference, and people would have flipped their shit.
Despite our apprehension towards Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think I'd be a lot more okay with the Super Metroid remake. Imagine it with like the graphical fidelity of even just like Shadow Complex, which was fantastic, and as long as it captured the atmosphere of Zebes with a modern graphical engine, that would hype the shit out of me. Like, seriously.
It would.
It wasn't the pixel art that I fell in love with when I first played Super Metroid. It was the atmosphere. And they could do a lot more with atmosphere these days. I'm amazed they got the atmosphere they did out of the art in the original release. But could you imagine? Like, Final Fantasy VII, I think they're doing great things. I like the moodier Midgar, feels very Blade Runner-esque. And I think that is an upgrade, but I feel their focus is going to be wrong. Super Metroid, I don't think it would be too hard or too easy to screw up that remake.
Yeah. I think they could do it. They could do it pretty easily, as long as they just focus on, like you said, atmosphere, and if they're gonna add stuff to it, add it in the spirit of Super Metroid.
They did it
Otherwise,
with
just tell the same story and tell it better. And
yeah.
I think that could be done.
They did it with Zero Mission. That was just a Metroid remake, and it did it very much in the spirit of the first. They altered very little, and they added that whole Zero Suit segment, which worked really well. I thought I liked it.
Yeah, it was great.
I forget if that was well received by the public, but I guess it doesn't even really matter. I remember liking that segment.
Yeah, I think people generally enjoyed that game and praised it. But for me, I would say that just in general, that game was great. And then there's there's the Metroid 2 remake. That's a fan remake that's coming out. And then there's also, there's been like look at Axiom Verge. That did well. I mean, that was a cross between Metroid 1 and Super Metroid, and the atmosphere in that game and the feeling of that game was great.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you don't need the hypest of the hype graphics. You need a good trailer. you need to just treat the material respectfully. And
well, I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that will get the hype. But at the end of the day, when Final Fantasy VII Remake comes closer to being released, people aren't going to remember that trailer. They're not going to care about the hype they felt. They're going to care about what they see in the final product. That's all there is to it. And I don't know. I wish Nintendo would do something along those lines with Metroid. It doesn't even have to be a remake, a new game, anything that is more classic Metroid, closer to classic Metroid. Come up with fucking Other M2. And if they tried to fix the mistakes that made Other M so shitty, it would probably be better than what I'm feeling from Federation Force right now.
Yeah, and that's why, again, I don't think it's a good idea to petition to cancel the game, because that's just like, they're a good developer. I think it's Next Level, I think is the name of the developers that are making it.
Yeah.
And they made Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon,
which is great.
And that was a good game, and they've done other games too that are really good, and it's not fair that people are shitting on this particular developer.
No, not at all.
Because they're a good fucking development team. And, the point is, though, Nintendo dropped the ball as far as I'm concerned when it comes to the right project. But that being said, then there's other things that Nintendo did, which was the Zelda game, which we touched on. It's going to have online multiplayer.
Yeah.
It's a 3-player co-op Zelda game called Triforce Heroes. I like the way that looks. I think that's good. But we also know that we're going to get a Zelda Wii U soon.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, you know what? That'll keep us busy until Zelda Wii U.
Yeah, totally.
And that makes me happy.
One thing, just speaking of some of the other games that Nintendo showed, Yoshi's Woolly World looks awesome. I mean, I'm just excited to get it. I think it looks very interesting from a gameplay perspective, whereas Yoshi's New Island was not. I'm glad that they're still on board with that project and putting a lot of work into it, despite Yoshi's New Island's failure.
Right.
I mean, not much to say about that one. Just looks great, I think.
Yeah. And it's like you can tell that Nintendo is working on it and not like they're not outsourcing it to someone.
Yeah.
Like they're putting a lot of love into that game. They know they need to get Yoshi back to a good spot right now, because for a little while Yoshi was just not in a good spot.
Yeah. One thing...
The games were jokes.
Yeah, totally. One game they showed that I thought was interesting, but from what I could glimpse from the gameplay footage, it was disappointing, was the Animal Crossing Mario Party type game. Did you see that?
Garbage. Yeah,
the thing
garbage.
is, I feel that theme and the Mario Party formula could have worked, because that's what Animal Crossing is. It's mini games, pretty much. It's just a huge collection of mini games weaved into a coherent world, or a coherent connections between everything. They could have done that with that game, but from what you could tell from the gameplay, there's no mini games of any kind. It's just you land on a space, the game tells you through a paragraph what happened, and then they adjust numbers, and it's the next person's turn. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, maybe there's a detail I missed, but as far as I could tell from the gameplay, that's all the game is, and that is extremely disappointing.
There's a few other modes they were talking about releasing, but generally the game seemed really disappointing. The way it was presented to us, and remember, first impression is super important.
Yeah.
I found out since that the game is going to be free.
Oh.
So you can just download it, and you just need amiibos to play it.
Yeah, it's an amiibo push. That's all it is.
It's an amiibo push.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the Animal Crossing Wii U that we wanted, because it really comes down to, here's why Nintendo's presentation was disappointing for so many people. Expectation versus reality. Expectation was a new Metroid game, a new Animal Crossing Wii U game, maybe some other stuff that we haven't seen in a while. New F-Zero would always be nice.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we would get a chance to see. I knew we weren't going to see Zelda Wii U, but a lot of fans were probably like, "Hey, where is it? What's going on with Zelda?" And we got other Zelda. So I understand why people are disappointed, because it's what you want versus what we got. And that's why these were disappointing. However, if a lot of these games were revealed during a Nintendo Direct, just randomly throughout the year, with no hype, and they were just like, well, here's a few little things we're working on,
Yeah.
I think it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Even the Metroid game.
But then what would they have shown at the conference?
They at the conference for E3, they needed more. But right now Nintendo's working on their NX.
Yeah.
And they're working on their future. Let's face it, the Wii U is not doing well.
Which breaks my heart.
People don't love it.
I really like the Wii U. I think
Me too.
Yeah. But I think the strongest part of Nintendo show was the opening game, which I'm amazed we haven't even mentioned yet. I think all the underwhelming stuff after showing this game kind of took space in my mind that this game really deserves, and that's Star Fox.
Yeah.
Star
Fox Zero.
I think it looked great, personally.
People complain about the graphics.
Whatever. I think it looked good enough. Shit. I mean, it wasn't like totally photorealistic. It's not something you'd find on a PS4. It's not something you'd see on PC. But at no point did I think this looks disappointing, like graphically. It was more or less what I would expect from a Wii U game, and it still looks better than any Star Fox game to date. And not only that, but I wasn't paying much attention to graphics. I was looking at the systems, and I really liked the systems that they included. The fact that you can transform between a bunch of different vehicles at any time, which was awesome. They didn't lock you into anything. At first, I thought they did, but then they showed you, they said, hey, on this map, you can transform from R-Wing straight into the Walker and just explore that way. I think that's awesome.
I really enjoyed that too. Yeah, the game looks great. I don't care what people say about the graphics, and I just was so excited to finally get a Star Fox game developed mostly by Nintendo. I mean, Platinum is working on it too, but they're more than qualified for this sort of thing.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, we didn't get a good Star Fox game for a while because we were getting other companies were attempting it. Namco, Rare. You had I forget who attempted the Star Fox game on the DS, Star Fox Command. So we had all these Star Fox games that were coming out that weren't really developed by Miyamoto and an in-house development team. And I feel like the franchise definitely suffered as a result of that.
Yeah.
So now that we get, Miyamoto was showing it. Miyamoto was like, okay, he's like the primary force behind the game.
Yeah.
You can tell that they're putting a lot of work into this. They're bringing Star Fox back, and they needed to do this.
Yeah, and
so yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, and Shiggy's been pretty visible on every instance of Star Fox they've shown. Even that very, very first teaser was Shiggy playing it. Right. So you're exactly right. I think it's clear that he has a lot of personal stake in this one, and to me, that means it's going to be good, like hands down.
Yeah,
I mean, I hate to blindly worship, a game developer icon, because I know I can get flack for that. But I mean, I have faith in Miyamoto personally. What was I gonna say? Oh, I want to ask: have you ever played Star Fox 2? The ROM?
Yeah, I've played the leaked version of it, but only a little bit because the frame rates were terrible, so I couldn't really play it too well.
Yeah,
but I attempted it. It was interesting.
Yeah, even the original Star Fox did not have a very good frame rate. Like, in our minds, it's awesome, but in actuality, it was very, very... It ran pretty shitty.
Yeah.
But it was good. I liked it. I liked how it really changed a lot of things from Star Fox 1. They actually took a lot of those ideas and brought them back in the DS game. What was it called? Star Fox Assault or something?
There was Star Fox Command was
one
of them.
That must have been it. The one where you explore the system freely, like you can move anywhere you're not on the track.
I think so. You believe it or not, I didn't play that one.
Yeah, that one I think was mostly based on Star Fox 2, but I like that they're bringing some things back from Star Fox 2, like the Walker. They're bringing back from Star Fox 2. That was introduced in that game. Overall, I just thought it looked really good. I mean, the weird thing was the lack of what's his face, the stupid frog. Why can't
Peppy.
Peppy? I couldn't. I couldn't. Wait, no. Peppy's the hair, isn't it?
Oh, I'm sorry, Slippy.
Slippy.
One of the things with the two
Yeah.
P's.
Slippity slap. Yeah. That was weird that he was missing, but it's clearly an origin story. It's called Star Fox Zero, so I assume they're gonna meet up with him, and you'll learn why he was so integral to the team. Because in previous entries, we had no clue why he mattered at all.
Because I made the Blue Marine Fox.
Yeah. So Slippity Slap, he was gone, but I assume he'll be in there somewhere. I think it just looks like a fun game.
Slippity Sloopy, he was
Yeah.
complete poopy. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I hope it turns out good. So far, it looks good. People said it was fun to play, and that's important.
Very important.
Yeah, Nintendo really did a great job with that. Mario Maker, I think.
Oh, yes.
It goes without saying that game is looking amazing.
It really does. I mean, we're both big fans of user-generated content because I have my Splunky contest that I do every year, and every year I get amazing entries and amazing stories that are told and amazing gameplay situations, and it's just awesome. And then you have your Super Mario Brothers X contest that you do every year. Again, you just came off the heels of that, and I bet doing that contest in the light of Mario Maker coming out sometime very soon. What was it, October or something?
Yeah, September. It's coming.
September. So I'm excited for Mario
September
Maker.
11th, by the way.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, and when they showed, I know this is like an irrelevant detail, but the internet was like making jokes.
Yeah.
Like they were like, ooh, ooh.
Those joke
September
makers.
11th. Those silly bastards, those little twat silly bastard fellas. But no, the funny thing about it is, when Nintendo showed the release date, at the bottom it said releasing the 11th of September. I was like, I see what you did there.
I see. They are aware, and they're
aware.
Yeah.
But they're not going to let something, like that stop them because it's just a day, and they're going to release the thing on the day they want to release it, and that's fine.
And now for the rest of history, we can finally forget what we've been told to never forget, and we'll always remember it as Mario Maker release day.
Everybody, do the Mario, everyone, dance with me. Come on, it's time to dance on 9/11.
But
this is going to be cut from the podcast, right? All of it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Just checking.
But the tools look very polished. I like the that they give you the different themes that you can use and how seamlessly it integrates those themes with every element of the level you're making intact. Like between making Super Mario World and the new Super Mario Brothers Wii U, new, all that. I think I'm just so excited. I really am.
They really managed to tie it all together nicely, like that nice one little rug that you have that just ties the whole room together. Like, it's Big Lebowski, don't worry about it. But anyway, yeah, the idea here is, though, they actually went back and retrofitted various elements into the previous games. So you'll see enemy sprites that were never in Mario Brothers 1 that they designed to make them look like they were in Mario Brothers 1.
It's just, I've never seen a level editor crafted with so much love, except for maybe like Portal 2, which had a fantastic level editor.
Oh, that was such a good one. Yeah.
But, oh man, it's amazing. But
check
can't
this
wait.
out. You can stack whatever enemies you want on top of each other. You can, give them wings. You can, say if you want to make a totem pole of, seven enemies, including, Bowser at the top or a Hammer Brothers guy at the top, you can do that. And the tool they made is just drag it in. That's all you have to do. Just drag them onto each other, and it'll just work. So, Nintendo proves that they really do have a bit of a magic touch when it comes to certain things. Like, we've been level editing for years. Super Mario Brothers X, people that make ROM hacks, and they're powerful tools, very much so. But now, with a touch screen on the Wii U, you have these other things. And not just the basic shit, but here's a cannon that shoots saw blades. Here's a mushroom that makes everything huge. And I really, really give them a lot of credit for that, because when Mario Maker was first announced, I thought, well, we got Mario Brothers X.
Right.
I don't really care too much. And we saw a few basic levels last year's E3. I was like, it looks okay.
It didn't show anything that you couldn't imagine, nothing that was too innovative. Innovative.
Innovative is how you'd say it if you were in Australia.
Yeah.
Because they say vitamins, so you'd say innovative.
Hi.
I
Time
so
to
that's
not get
anyway.
too
Mario
racist.
Maker, very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks great. I'm so excited, and yeah, I mean, I foresee some kind of controversy. Sorry, some kind of controversy happening soon with Mario Maker. I can't even tell you what exactly it is, but something about how perfect the game is and being able to share user-generated content. There's going to be some either like moderation or curation of that content that's going to piss people off. I don't even know what it will be yet, but just, you've heard it here. There's going to be some controversy regarding
Yeah,
Mario Maker.
there's going to be an automatic dick detection system
Yeah.
like that joke site posted years ago. But here's the thing about it. You're probably right. It's because we're gamers in 2015 now that we just brace ourselves. It's like, even if everything seems like everything's going amazing and it looks great and it's like, oh, this game is going to be great. We're so used to something being a little fucked
Yeah.
or something just a little off or wrong or weird that I actually agree with you.
Yeah.
Something weird's going to happen. Some Miiverse shit's going to happen. I mean, look, you and I were playing the Miiverse stage in Smash Brothers, and there was some pretty nasty shit going on. I saw like swastikas. I saw the N word. I saw multiple N words. I saw fucking, KKK masks. I'm like, this is going on a Smash Brothers stage, and it's still not moderated. So now it's one of my favorite stages because when people are playing and I'm not, I get to have a laugh and see the little art that people make. And then I think to myself, like, how long is this going to last before Nintendo takes this stage away from us because there's too many dicks?
Too many dicks.
So I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's next?
I don't know. There was something else I was going to say about Mario Maker. Can't remember it. Moving on. Nothing else from Nintendo, I think there is to mention at all.
It was just overall a little disappointing, but there was a few moments that we liked.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, the stuff we were excited about, we already knew about. It was nice to see a lot more Star Fox. But Mario Maker, we learned how versatile that system truly is, and I'm very excited for that. But again, we knew about it. The reason Sony's conference really stole everyone's hearts was because of Final Fantasy VII Remake, Shenmue 3, Last Guardian, just these huge things that they can't announce one of those every year. Like, the timing was just right here. That, or they're just really desperate and will throw anything out to sell PS4s, despite who knows how long before these games come out. Did you see The Last Guardian?
Yeah, all right. So, one of my controversial opinions is I don't understand why this game is getting so much hype, aside from the fact that it was not heard of for years. I compared the trailer that we got this year to the one that we got 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. They look almost exactly the same in terms of graphics.
I think there are subtle upgrades graphically, but you're right. It's not a
subtle
huge...
for 6 years?
Well, the thing is subtle for 6 years, you're right. But also the original trailer on the PS3 was clearly well beyond the PS3's capabilities. Like, the trailer from the original trailer is probably more geared towards PS4 level graphics, and then they were going to tone that down for actual release so it can not run like a pile of shit. And then it didn't release until the PS4 came out, so now they're able to actually make the game look like that. But that's, in my mind at least, that's why it's not a huge upgrade, because the original totally overshot its capabilities. That's how I feel, at least.
I mean, honestly, I'm looking at the trailer for the PS3 version right now. It looks like a PS3 game to me. I'm sorry to say. It may be a little bit better. I won't deny that. It looks very good art style. Animations are really good. But then, then I skip ahead and I watch the PS4 one and I'm like, all right, what's so special about this game? Why is everyone so excited? Why do I want to be a child jumping from platform to platform while a giant feathered chihuahua follows me? And then I asked my friend Tyler this question, and he said because the Chihuahua eventually becomes or ties into Shadow of the Colossus, which I loved.
Probably.
And I'm like, okay, that's cool because there's story. But in terms of gameplay, is this just parkour child simulator? Because
we don't know.
I'm not sure why. We don't know. We really don't. But at the moment, like, people losing their shit over this, and I watched the trailer and I just was like dreadfully bored.
Yeah.
Just it didn't. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I still felt excited, but for reasons, and I think I feel excited for the same reason other people are excited, and I'll explain to you. And you're exactly right. The gameplay does not look anything phenomenal. We don't even know a lot of the details. Like, are you ever going to get to control the Chihuahua Griffin? Are you ever, or is it just all commands, which is what it seems like? It's all command based, and he moves contextually, which is just basically a shifting environment, not an actual cooperative experience.
Right.
It's not the gameplay. It's a couple of things. One, it's the legacy, which is kind of what Tyler was getting at. It's Shadow of the Colossus and Eco, both very unique, very distinct games in their universes, and to have the next gen entry of that thing, of the next gen Shadow of the Colossus and next gen Eco, that excites people who are fans of those games, and mostly everyone agrees Shadow of the Colossus one of the best games ever. To have the follow up to Shadow of the Colossus, just in the legacy, people are excited for The Last Guardian, even if objectively speaking it's not that interesting. It's
In
like,
that case, Federation Force should be goddamn amazing.
right, but the thing is, we know, to me that looks infinitely shittier
Agreed.
than
Agreed.
Last
I'm
Guardian.
just busting balls.
But imagine, it's like if someone said, "What's the big deal behind new Super Mario, or sorry, Super Mario 3D World?" It's just, I see a stupid fat plumber Italian jumping on some stupid little brown things on some platforms. Why is this unique? Why is this different?
Right.
So it's
you have a point.
So it's partly the legacy, and I think the other part of it is the status as, development hell. I mean, look at Duke Nukem Forever. Everyone knew that was going to be a pile of shit based on its last trailers and gameplay. Or at least I knew it was going to be a pile of shit. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. Well, there was a hopefulness, but
Yeah.
then I played it and I was like, okay.
But the only reason anyone was hyped for that at any point was purely because of development hell. It's almost a weird marketing thing. Like, I don't think it's a marketing thing that anyone should deliberately use, but for those games that suffered it and somehow came out of development hell, it works out in a way. They say, whoa, holy shit. Imagine if they announced Half-Life 3 and it could be made, in the shittiest Unity asset store
Right.
assets, and I use asset twice, fuck. And like, it could be, you might control a head crab, and it's a platforming game, and you got to collect the orbs and pay DLC for the Gordon Freeman part. And people would say, holy shit, Half-Life 3, get fucking hyped. People would get excited. They would.
They would. I mean, that's how it works. But again, look, my argument here is that 6 years, I'm not impressed with the progress that's been made in 6 years. Why is it taken 6 years?
Probably because there blatantly hasn't been progress in 6 years. It's
because
clearly,
they probably don't know what the fuck to do with this game. Because there's, how much fun can it be jumping from one platform to the next while a giant thing follows you? I got to admit, it was gripping in the sense that, like, I didn't want the kid to fall, and I didn't want the Guardian to die, because I was like, oh well, they're alive, and they're in a stone environment, and they don't, I don't like when things die. And that was really it. Other than that, I just thought to myself, I would rather watch someone play this game than actually play it myself.
Yeah.
So Last Guardian hype, not for me, but I don't mind eating my words. If it's going to be amazing when it comes out, I will find out why it's amazing, because I love Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
However, that did nothing for me.
I am interested to see, like Tyler brought up the lore, I'm interested to see how Last Guardian ties into it. If the Guardian itself, or the giant Chihuahua Griffin, is the first true Colossus, or maybe the last, I guess, depending on when it takes place in the timeline. Because there was a tie between Shadow of the Colossus and Eco. It was disputed, but they came forward and said it was intentional, that, this area that you see in Shadow of the Colossus is the area from Eco. You just can't get there. And like it made sense to tie them together, even if the details aren't ironed out. And I'm interested to see how Last Guardian fits into that.
Sure.
So that, but that's again just from a fan of the first two games. Like, Joe Schmo shouldn't give any shits about the Last Guardian. I feel it doesn't do anything.
It's gonna be, yeah.
It doesn't do anything too interesting from a gameplay perspective, especially, I mean, I guess it depends how much control you have. Maybe there's more than the trailer let on, but...
there has to be. If there isn't, then I think it's going to be just a really, like, up-your-own-ass kind of artistic experience, and there's going to be people defending it until the end of time, and everyone else is going to be like, what?
I think it's
But
more going
yeah,
to be for the eco crowd than the shadow crowd, which is, gonna let people down because Shadow of the Colossus got way more followers than eco, and those who did play eco, even after coming back from enjoying Shadow, a lot of people didn't enjoy eco as much. It's more of a particular taste, and I liked eco a lot, but I can understand why someone would be bored by it, and that's largely what Last Guardian looks like. It's a sprawling labyrinthian castle with environmental puzzles. It's almost just Eco
sure.
2. It's just with the Chihuahua flavoring.
Okay.
A little bit of the Taco Bell hot sauce. So, I don't know,
Oh,
maybe you should
Yapito.
play, maybe you should, cuz do you have the HD
No,
remaster of, okay.
no.
Maybe you
I
should get
have
that.
the game itself. I will say this: the American box art for Eco turned me off so bad
It's
that whenever
bad.
someone recommended that game to me, I just looked at it and I was like, no. It's like
Consider,
a boy with like a diaper helmet made of horn
yeah.
and a wooden plank looking like vapidly into the
It's
audience.
really bad, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
but maybe on your own time because it's short. It's like 6 hours at most, to be honest. I think, at least if my memory serves me correctly. I think if you should play it, and if you enjoyed it, I I want to say you can look forward to the Last Guardian in the same ways that you enjoyed Eco.
fair enough.
That's my verdict. I think it's going to
And
be a
that's
lot
good
more.
advice for everyone listening too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more Eco than Colossus, and then that will hopefully pave way for the next true successor to Shadow of the Colossus. I mean, could they do another one of those and not have it be shitty? That's kind of one of those, you know, once in a lifetime games, in my opinion.
Shadow.
Yeah, like, or in the sense that I can't see anyone, even like as an actual official successor to that game, making any kind of experience that is as novel as Shadow of the Colossus was at its time.
Well, lightning can strike twice in
Yeah.
some cases, but it's just a matter of the right team. Like for example, if Rare tried to make another Banjo Kazooie game or like another Perfect Dark type game,
Yeah.
the team is completely different.
Right.
So you have to wonder how much of the team is still intact from whatever. What's the name of the team that made Shadow and Ico?
I think it's just like a team Ico.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
Whatever the case, yeah, we're not like experts, but in any case, yeah, it could happen. It just depends on how much of the team is there.
Holy shit! I'm not even shitting you. The developer is Team Ico. I felt
Which
I thought I was making that up, but apparently that is absolutely right. The team that's making the team that's making The Last Guardian and the team that made Shadow Colossus and Ico, they're just called Team Ico.
which I actually believe I've heard that before. So
Really?
that didn't really
I thought I
yeah,
made it up. Maybe I don't know. I mean, it's as dumb as calling a developer Team Meat, you know, because they
Team
made a
Meat's
meat
actually kind of good.
based game. So, but Team Meat is a palindrome, so that's okay. I guess I can
It's
forgive that.
perfect.
Yeah.
So all right. Anyway, so that's pretty much the end of my thoughts on that game. But what else from Sony did you want to talk about? Because I watched most of Sony's, but I didn't see the whole thing. So
There wasn't much else. Like they showed the Division, or was that Ubisoft? That might have been Ubisoft. Um, they showed Shenmue 3, which I've never been a Shenmue fan. I tried to play the original Shenmue like 3 or 4 times, and it's never gripped me. Every single time I was just like, why do people like this? However, it is credited as one of the first games to use QTEs extensively. Or like it pretty much invented QTEs as far as my gamer knowledge is telling me, but I don't know if that's true or not. But it's the earliest example of heavy QTE usage that I can think of.
well then in that case, fuck that game
Yeah,
because QTEs are usually the weakest part of whatever game I'm playing.
yeah. I mean, especially since they're so overdone. But at the time, people kind of liked it. They were like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting." You know, a button flashes. It's like a little mini game to see if you succeeded or not. It's an interesting way to break up the flow. But Shenmue, do you know anything about the original Shenmue?
No, I never played Shenmue, but I know it's got a huge and loyal following.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's a detective type game where someone murders your brother or something, and you need to explore this district in Japan for and gather clues, talk to people, get information, and eventually lead you to the person who killed your brother or whatever it is. I could never get into it. The pacing seemed slow for me. I wasn't into that type of game at the time. Maybe I'd like it more now. And all the names are extremely long and similar Japanese names that this is going to make me sound racist, but I have a tough time parsing them. I have a tough time
That doesn't sound
distinguishing.
racist. Word cultures can sometimes be
Yeah.
weird to other cultures. It doesn't, it
Right.
doesn't mean anything bad. It's just like, yeah, if you have a game with really long names,
Yeah.
that means that the names are hard for you to,
Yeah, I mean,
understand.
and we're talking like several dozen of these names, and
Right.
and because they were so important to the game itself and the design, that turned me off.
And keeping track of all those names,
Yeah.
and it probably is difficult.
Yeah, I liked
But,
some
yeah.
ideas behind it, like that it wouldn't just tell you exactly where to go. You had to really think about where you need to go next, which is something I think a lot of modern games could use. But at the time, it never really hooked me. I tried to get into it because I heard it was great, or at least had an underground occult following. And every time I'm just like, no, this is boring me. I'm not feeling
Sure.
it. So Shenmue 3, whatever. I'm glad that
Well,
they're taking a risk, but
The Kickstarter thing, I feel, is kind of underhanded in a way, because it's like they're making the audience, like, they brought up a guy so that they could collect money for a game. There's a bit of a controversy I spoke about on
Yeah.
the stream, but I'll just very quickly refresh. It's basically the thought of $2 million is the goal, which is not enough to make a game like that.
not even close.
Not
But,
even close.
I mean, Sony did come forward and say, we are funding like 98% of this. The Kickstarter was just for a tiny extra push, which, that's not, I mean, I don't know exactly what they said. I could be making that up. But as far as that was the impression that I got based on Sony's statement. But really, it's clearly just marketing. There's no way a Kickstarter announced during E3 could fail. It could have been for anything, and people probably would have funded it because it was part of the Sony conference, and they said, you can
but
fund this.
I don't like the idea of this, though. I got to be
Yeah.
honest. This to me sounds like a scam, because it's like, all right, we're gonna give the we're gonna make this game, but why don't we just collect some more money from you? Oh, and by the way, if the game is shit, congratulations, you just helped fund it,
But
as
really,
well as buy it.
That's the caveat that any Kickstarter has, though. Let's face it. I mean,
True.
like, because I can name one specific Kickstarter that's totally failed to materialize that I put $10 into. I can name at least 2 or 3 that are kind of development helly, or any progress on them are going alarmingly slow. Like Barkley 2, Jesus, that's the big one for me. That one, it's going so slow to the point where I'm worried. But I put $20 in that. But there have also been some really successful ones, or some ones that came out. Darkest Dungeon, I funded that. Not
Right.
disappointed at all. Armacrog is coming out in September. The development, some say it was slow. I thought it was fine, but that's clearly going to come out, and I've been happy, and I think that's going to be pretty good. What else was... Oh, Catacomb Kids, funded through Kickstarter. I really enjoyed the early access, but development for that's slow. But he didn't even promise that the money was going to carry him all the way through development. He said this was just to give me a push to work on it full-time for a while. Fine.
Sure.
A lot of things. So, but point is that that's the caveat you face with any Kickstarter. You are right. It's underhanded of them to say, give us this money. It's going to be made anyway. Sony is going to give us this money, but give us an extra $2 million, because why not?
Yeah, an extra $2 million. But the thing is, again, I see what you're saying, and you're right. It's always a risk. But in this case, they had every intention of getting this game made. But they were like, oh, well, why don't we just give, extra money from people? So that way people can give this game money to be made. But Kickstarter, one of the things about Kickstarter is, if the project gets enough interest, the project is made.
Right.
So in this case, the project was going to get made. So you already eliminated one key major function of Kickstarter.
Right, to gauge progress. Interest.
It's important. And again, I'm not even summing this up the best way possible, but it's caused a bit of controversy, and there's more to it than what I've just listed and what I've said.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is one of those things that I think is going to start a trend, and I think now we're going to see Kickstarters every E3. What game can we revive now, guys? Which dead franchise do fans want? Which nostalgia do they want to rub all over their bodies?
Metroid.
And oil themselves in nostalgia. You know what? Why don't we have a Kickstarter for Metroid Other M3?
For
Don't even
Super
worry
Metroid
about
remake.
Other M2. We don't
Yeah.
even need Other M2. Let's just get Other M3.
It worked for
Just
Shenmue. Get to 3, man. Get to 3.
exactly, because the people spoke and the
They
Kickstarter spoke, and they needed that money. Sony has got so much money, but no. Here's an extra 2 mil from the audience because it's E3 and everyone's going to give you the money. So anyway, I was not impressed with that, and the footage for Shenmue 3, like what even was it? It's like hobbled together. Just like, here, throw something together. Get some people who don't even understand the words they're saying and throw them in a room together. Record the clips. We got E3 in 2 days. Get him on the stage. Get it there, and then get this guy. Who the fuck is this guy? Oh yeah, he made the series. All right, get him the fuck up there.
Get him.
We need
That's
him.
the guy.
Get him. Tell him to talk about the game for a bit. Have him smile, and then everyone's gonna donate, and it's gonna be lovely, and then we can all go fuck ourselves with money.
Lovely.
So anyway,
Yeah.
maybe I'm a little cynical.
I'm going to say, I'll give you, okay, let me break down Kickstarter a little bit. This is K-Weezy's recommended Kickstarter procedures. If you are going to venture into Kickstarter, I've kickstarted a number of things. I can give you some tips. Are you ready?
Yes.
So 1, never expect a project to complete when you're backing it. If you're going to back something, it's because you have faith that will complete, but don't expect it to complete. The reason for that is, for example, the one game that has totally failed to materialize and clearly is never going to for me, the one I spent $10 on, lost that $10 forever. The page where it was very vague showed no gameplay, just some concepts, some very, very, very vague concepts. And I liked the concepts enough, and I knew the guy could probably have used the money if he really wants to make it, so I threw him $10. It's never going to be made. Am I going to sue him? No. I mean, some people think that kickstarting something entitles them to getting that game or else they get their money back, but that's not really how Kickstarter works. It's a risk, and you know you're taking that risk when you kickstart. So be smart. When you kickstart something, ask yourself, is this definitely going to be made? And if you have faith that it will, then you can feel safe kickstarting it. 2, never kickstart something that's clearly going to get funded anyway. If you see Shenmue 3 has $5 million and only needed $2 million, do you need to throw more money in that pot?
No.
No, unless you want some sweet merch, which, I can understand. Sometimes you want the sweet merch. But if you just want the game, there's no point in throwing more money their way, because that's just money that's potentially down the drain, even if you're sure it's going to get made. I've never kickstarted something that was just blatantly going to make it. I've kickstarted Armacrog at $40, it's only $20. I got 2 copies of the game because they were struggling, and I really wanted that game. I think that made a difference. The people who saw that and said, they could use a little extra here. And now that game's coming out, and I'm happy. But if it was a smash hit, Yooka-Laylee, Bloodstained, Shenmue 3, why bother putting more money into it? Why?
Exactly. You
can just get it when it's out. And by the time it comes out, you'll know if it's worth that money. I realize that stifles the idea of increasing scope due to smashing stretch goals, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
And the last thing I would say is be wary of projects that promise a lot of merch. I think this is less now than it used to be, but an early lesson from a lot of Kickstarter developers were that they promised a lot of merch, totally underestimating how much the merch would cost, to the point where they spent way more money fulfilling the merch than they could put towards development, and then as a result had to either cancel or deliver a really subpar product. I forget the name. There's one that's really notorious for this happening, where they had to literally put all the funds from Kickstarter and more just in fulfilling the merch. So if there's a product or a game that's promising buttloads of merch, be wary. If it's just saying, hey, fund this game, we can't promise a lot of stuff, but the more money means a better game, then they're a lot safer.
Sure.
That's KY's Kickstarter protocol. I hope that helped someone who's listening, who's not into a lot of Kickstarters, who have thought about it but have been scared to. There you go.
Well, I like your advice. I think it's good advice, and I would agree with it. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I will also say that there's an article about Shenmue 3 broke records because Sony lied to backers. The question being, can you make an open world game for $2 million? And they lied. And the idea is they had every intention of making this game a reality, but they wanted to do a PR stunt.
Right.
Whether or not the campaign is legal or technically fulfills Kickstarter's rules, it's another example of how crowdfunding doesn't actually buy you anything at all. Not a stake in the title, not a say in whether or not the company sells itself to an enormously profitable social media company. And now it doesn't even buy you an assurance that someone else isn't bankrolling the project. So yeah, there's a lot about this thing that's become kind of controversial. And I personally, as you can see, I agree with you, KY, on 100% of the things you said about Kickstarter, and even this particular thing, Shenmue 3. I don't approve of the way it was started. I don't like this tactic.
Yeah,
but
me neither.
The rules apply.
Yeah,
you are correct, and no one is being forced to back it.
Right,
that's still your choice.
Right, exactly. It's clearly a PR stunt on Sony's end, and that's fine as long as I think most people perceive it as the way it is. And like you said, there's no stake in it. And as with any Kickstarter product, you're putting your money in faith that your money will help them make a better game and eventually get that game to you. It does not guarantee you getting that game. And that sucks because sometimes it's going to burn you every once in a while. But that's the price you pay for making other games that would never exist a reality. Darkest Dungeon probably would never have happened, or at least would not be nearly as good if it wasn't for Kickstarter's success. And if that means I wasted $10 on what was it called? Wow, can't remember anything right now. But yeah, if that means I had to waste $10 on something else that never materialized, fine. That's the price I pay for a site that gives birth to a lot of other great things.
Agreed. And again, I'm with you on that. It's just a matter of, as we go forward, how does this kind of stuff, are there going to be rules against certain things? And if so, does it involve, if the project was already intended to be funded, is that against the rules of Kickstarter? So that's kind of a problem. But, I love it. I'm happy for it to exist. But I think this particular case that Shenmue set a record, I think it's going to maybe set some other things into motion. I think people are going to have to take a closer look at what is acceptable for Kickstarter. But anyway, I think we're spending too long on this, and that's partially my fault. Sorry about that. But
no,
let's why don't we talk about something else from Sony? Was there anything else interesting? Was there anything else that you liked, or?
Not really. There is Project Morpheus, which I'm interested to hear more about because I know pretty little. I know most about the Vive, compared to Oculus and Morpheus and stuff. And I hear Morpheus has got some interesting stuff, but I did not catch the Morpheus bit of E3, so I can't comment on it. Otherwise, not really. Like, we talked Nintendo, we talked Sony. Microsoft, did that have anything for you?
Yeah, we should talk about Microsoft for a minute because there was there's a few things that people wanted to see. So Halo 5, they showed a bit of, and everyone that owns that system, which is officially, I guess, 3 million more than people that own a Wii U. I want to know what the people who have an Xbox One are playing. Like, what are you guys playing on that system? Are you just watching TV on it? Because I don't understand.
It's very much a mainstream icon at this point. Like, if you're talking to the casual perception of a hardcore gamer, that would be an Xbox owner. You say, "Oh, get him an Xbox,"
Yeah,
is he playing his Xbox? The PlayStation less so, but still kind of with that status, except with actual games.
Well, the PS4 is 22.7 million sold. The Xbox One is 12.6, and the Wii U is 9.7 million.
Man, breaks my heart.
So, yeah, I mean, the Xbox One, I was an Xbox 360 owner. I will not buy an Xbox One. This Microsoft conference did little and less to impress me and entice me. And I mean, okay, so we saw Gears of War, which I liked that franchise up until I played the third one, and I liked it. Halo, I mean, they're similar games each time, but they're fun if you like first-person shooters. But, again, the whole Call of Duty syndrome, it's like we've already burnt ourselves out on a lot of these types of games. I have, personally. I can't speak for everyone because clearly these things are selling and creating and generating hype. First-person shooters fun every now and then, but when you have, that's like your main thing, I feel like it's just that Anyway, I didn't really watch the whole thing, but they did show a few things like that. They showed Rare's new game, which is a pirate game.
Uh huh.
It looks like an MMO pirate game. Graphics don't have the same Rare charm.
Yeah.
It was an attempt, but it didn't really get close, in my opinion. Then again, Rare is a different company. They may as well not even be called Rare anymore. But the point is that they showed a game finally, and it was a pirate game where you would have an MMO kind of feel to it and collect booty and stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Rare also talked about something I thought was great, which is like a Rare 30-in-1 type game. Did you hear
Yeah,
about
that
that?
collection. Yeah. I don't know what games are part of it, but I just know it exists. I remember, didn't they say something like, what is it, like Perfect Dark won't be a part of it or something? Let me look up the list, because this matters. What's it called? The Rare collection?
It's
E3.
I don't know.
Rare Replay collection. Here's what it will have. Of course, there's no list here. Why would they need a list? Among the list of games included in Rare Replay are Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Nuts and Bolts, not Banjo-Kazooie, but Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Conker's Bad Fur Day, which did get a remake. Viva Pinata, which I hear is very good, but although very weird and not mainstream. Perfect Dark, so I stand corrected. Blast Core, awesome. Battletoads, which almost feels like a joke, but it's there.
Yeah, it really does. There's a few Battletoads in there.
Yeah, and Killer Instinct. In total, oh no. Why is that even...
Perfect Dark is in there too.
This article makes it a whole line just to say, in total, Rare Replay will have 10,000 gamer score. Thanks.
Okay.
That's what matters. I guess to some people it's what matters, and I think most games only have 100 gamer score, but like, what? Really? Is that worth making its own line? Okay. Let me see if I can find a full list.
I found the full list on Wikipedia. Yeah, it's just a lot of Rare's earlier games, like RC Pro Am is in there. Snake Rattle and Roll.
That's good. I'm glad that they're
Jetpack.
including a variety. I'm looking at the list now too. Jet Force Gemini. That does have the original Banjo-Kazooie. Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know why that article...
Banjo-Kazooie, Perfect Dark is in there. Perfect Dark Zero is in there.
Why did that article... Okay, whatever. Fuck that
article was poop.
Yeah.
But in any case, yeah, this is a 30-game collection for $30, which I think is probably one of the best deals on the planet, and which is why it got a lot of hype. And I agree with it. Rare Replay Collection is a great value. 30 games for $30, and you get Perfect Dark, even Perfect Dark Zero, which is not that great of a game as far as I've heard. It's still only $1.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I think through this collection, if I had an Xbox One, which I probably never will, through this collection, I would play Perfect Dark Zero, whereas otherwise I would never play it. It's just like a bonus to the collection. I would buy it for Perfect Dark, for Banjo-Kazooie, for Blast Core especially. I would buy it for those things. And then Perfect Dark Zero just being included in that would be like, hey, why not? Let's play it. And I would never have played it otherwise. So I think that's a solid list of games, and it's cool. It's pretty neat that they're making that Rare Replay collection. Very cool.
So that's something I can get behind. And I like, again, the value is the most important part. I feel that's as a gamer that has spent $10 on like a fucking N64 game for the Virtual Console, which I regret now, but the fact that Nintendo charges so much for its classic games, and then you have Rare, it's like, here's 30 games for $30. I think that's amazing, and I hope I hope other people take note.
One of the games
sets a precedent.
Yeah. One of the games in the collection is called Grabbed by the Ghoulies. I just linked it to you. Now, tell me that the box art there what does the box art there make you think of?
It makes me think of Ico.
Yep, exactly. I wonder who the artist is on the Grabbed by the Ghoulies cover art, because I swear that's Ico right there. It's pretty much the same cover art, just with some skeletons and mummies and a different skin on the character.
Just a dead look in the eyes of that character on the front, and holding a stick.
Holding like literally just a stick, and it's not even facing the monsters. Maybe he's running from them. Maybe he just want to get grabbed by the ghoulies.
Yeah, that's just bad.
Dude, tell me this is not a green light guess. You ready? Grabbed by the ghoulies follows a young man named Cooper Chance who sets out to rescue his girlfriend Amber from Ghoulhaven Hall. This mansion is full of supernatural creatures, and Cooper will receive help along the way from the many hired hands that work there.
I'd say if you did that on green light guess, I would say it's real, but I would still have to like go back and forth in my head quite a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's weird.
I bet there are some huge Grabbed by the Ghoulies fans that are gonna tear into us.
Hey, maybe I'll stream it one day. Let's. You know what? I'll check it out.
Get an Xbox One.
What system is that shit on?
Xbox One. No Xbox 360.
Fuck. Right,
wait. Xbox Live Arcade. So maybe it is on the 360. I don't know.
Good, because that game's going to be amazing. I can't wait to play it. No, I can't.
Genres: action, adventure, beat 'em up, survival, horror. Okay. All right. But so what would it? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask, what would it take to sell you an Xbox One? How can I get one into your pocket today? What if I told you Spelunky 2 is an Xbox One exclusive forever?
All right. No, you got me. Then I would get one. But here's how you could get me an Xbox One. If you bought it and then sent it to me, and then you bought the proper HDMI connectors and you bought me an extension cord because I officially have no more room to plug things into. So I could have an Xbox One and it would literally just sit there because it would take more effort to unplug and find plug spaces for this goddamn thing than it would take for me to actually want to sit down and play video games on it, because as far as I'm concerned, there is nothing on it right now that I have any interest in. But 3 million more units sold than the Wii, about.
You better watch what you wish for, because our viewers. You know that someone is going to send you one of these now.
Look, if you do that, you have my word. I will not fucking play it. Do not do that. And not only that, I have hammers.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'd probably stream yourself crushing it, which, again, might sound appetizing to some for more wealthy viewers. I think someone's going to do that. I'm almost betting on it now. You never know.
Don't do it. No one do it. Please.
I wouldn't play it either.
But yeah,
I don't even know.
A PS4 I wouldn't mind, because there's some stuff coming out for it in the future, and there's a few things now that are kind of interesting, but I'm still not even that behind it, because, again, my PC is up to snuff. I'm very happy with my PC. And my Wii U and 3DS, I'm all gamed out. And you know what? I would say I play the games I want to play, and I have a good time with them. But at the same time, if I had every system, it would I know that some of them would just go to waste. But having just less makes me appreciate what I have more.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No, it makes total sense. I was half listening and half thinking about what conference South Park was in. Was that in Microsoft?
I don't remember. Ubisoft.
I guess it doesn't even matter.
Aisha Tyler was making bad jokes.
Yeah, she was probably like, oh, you guys are going to shit your fucking pants over this next goddamn ass shit game.
The shit fucking twat game that South Park is coming out with. Hey, we're Ubisoft. We have people curse and we make memes.
Warm up your cunts, because this next game is gonna shit your brain fuck right out your ass.
Thank God. And then Matt and Trey come up there and they're like, wait a minute, I thought we were the dirty ones. The name of our game is The Fractured Butthole. Aisha Tyler's like, you should have called it The Fucking Bloody Ass Cock.
Yeah, pitch that meme. Yeah, pitch it.
So that was that was good, South Park. But the Ubisoft conference, just in general, was just a farce for the most part. I mean, they showed Rainbow Six, which looked all right, Division, which looks the same, if not worse than it did like 2 years ago. But I still want that goddamn game. It's just not coming out for so long.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'll probably lose interest by the time it comes out.
Let's see.
Like memes.
Okay, so just out of curiosity, I looked up all of the South Park games that exist, like their names. There's a lot of stuff here I had no idea existed. There's the Fractured Butthole, which we just announced. But you ready for the rest of them? Just to throw it out there, some trivia. South Park, which was the first person shooter that was terrible. Mm-hmm. Chef's Love Shack, LUV.
Yep, I know about that one.
Oh. South Park Pinball. South Park Rally, or yeah, South Park Rally is what it's called. It was a kart racer for the PlayStation 1. South Park 10, the game, which was a mobile game. South Park Let's Go Tower Defense Play for Xbox Live Arcade.
Oh, never heard of that one.
South Park Tennerman's Revenge, which I've heard of that, and I want to say it got okay reviews, maybe? Or mixed reviews? I don't even know what it is. It's South Park Tennerman's Revenge. It's a platformer, apparently. And then South Park Stick of Truth and South Park The Fractured Butthole.
Yeah, I didn't know about like a few of those, but generally I don't play South Park games. I played the first person shooter one because that was like, oh yay, it's like a big South Park game. It's like, one of the first ones. And then I played it and it was like, oh, this is just the worst Turok.
Yeah. I mean, the smart thing about The Fractured Butthole is that they don't need to pretty it up between sequels. Like, usually when a sequel happens, everyone expects an iteration on the graphics and the art. But for South Park, they don't have to do that, really.
They just need a good story. And they need a good, good story, good angle, and they need to just do the gameplay right, which I haven't played Stick of Truth, but I'm considering playing it soon now that I have it, and I really want to see what it's all about. And
You'll
the thing
like
is,
it. Yeah.
I know I'm going to like it because everyone has said great things about it, and I'm excited to try it, but if they just stick with that formula and just tell another good story, then I think it'll be great.
Yeah. I played South Park 64. It's bad. It was such a mess. It was cool as a kid because I was like, I'm in South Park. I can explore South Park. Hey, there's Cartman. I can throw a snowball at him. This is fucking great. But even as a kid, like 3 levels in, I was like, this is not that good. Like,
yeah. I said, it was Acclaim, I think, made it, and it was just a worse Turok.
Yeah.
But that was what was big at the time. So
That's
they
true.
were like, yeah, we got to go for this kind of style.
Were you a Turok fan? Did you like that game?
I love Turok.
Yeah.
I loved Turok. I got bored of it eventually, but Turok 1, I replayed endlessly. Turok 2 was a letdown, but it was still pretty damn fun.
Yeah.
And I played a lot of that too. Yeah, it was a great series.
Wasn't there a modern reboot of Turok? Was that any good?
Changing Mag!
Was that from that game?
No, but that's what kind of game. It was like large McFuckhuge McMuscleman.
Killing dinosaurs.
and his team of his squared of soldiers. His squared. And their call names were like, Raptor, get over it. I don't know, something like that, right? And it was just like, you're John Turok. And it's like there's no relation to the actual comic book Turok anymore. Your code name is Turok, and you're gonna go and fight dinosaurs, Call of Duty style, a grenade out. It was just absurd.
Yeah, I played the original and I liked it, but what hampered the experience for me, even again as a kid, I kind of perceived the draw distance was so bad, like that fog.
I knew about that. Yeah.
I couldn't get very far because of that. I was just like, I can't see anything. And like there were other games that did suffer from that, but that one was the worst offender in my mind. So I don't know, but
yeah, that's a definite. That was
one thing that they showed. I guess this was the Bethesda conference, and are we done with Ubisoft? Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Ubisoft?
No, Ubisoft can eat my bick. Bick.
Tom Clancy's The Division, which looks, I guess, a little bit interesting. Not like stellar, but all right. They should just drop Tom Clancy from the title of these games already. Like, do you feel that way?
Yeah, of course I feel that way, but it might sell an extra 15 units, so they have to do it.
For all those hardcore Clancy fans.
Hardcore Clancy men.
Yep.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about Ubisoft anymore.
Yeah, that conference was a mess.
It was a pointless mess, but yeah.
You expect it to be though. If it wasn't a mess and they were on point for once, then I think that would be a little scary. It wouldn't feel like E3 anymore. Not the E3 that we know and love these days.
Yeah, certainly love it.
So we talked about
I was captive at my own couch.
So there's Bethesda and there was Doom, and Doom looked pretty interesting, I guess. Here's a weird confession. I've never actually played more than 2 levels of Doom. So It's hard for me to grasp why that game was so special. I'm sure it was incredible for its time. It offered
Hololens.
really intense map exploration, action and speed that was just unprecedented, and the theming and atmosphere that was again unprecedented or nearly unprecedented. So I'm sure
Yeah.
it was very special, but I don't have it internalized. Does Doom mean a lot to you?
Yeah, it does. Doom 64.
Yeah,
I played hours and hours and hours and hours of Doom 64. I would just go through the levels over and over again. And then I played the PC version, but not very much of it. Like I played it when it first came out, but only at a friend's house. So I didn't get a chance to love Doom the way some people did. But Doom 64 blew my mind, and I loved it. Yeah, I mean, I like what they're doing with Doom because it's supposed to be a gory, bloody game with demons and hell and alien space bases on Mars. So there's some cool stuff going on in there, but I really don't like it. It looks bland in
yeah,
2015 to just go
yeah,
around and just shoot people in the face constantly. And here's the other thing too. If they wanted to impress me, they would make it so that the chainsaw really worked and not like, okay, take out your chainsaw and then press the A button and then pre-rendered, predetermined animation will play. And then you watch the animation of the chainsaw work and then it's done. And then you move on and do that again. Like they were showing off this chainsaw shit like it was a huge deal. And yet I'm looking at it. I'm like, this does nothing for me. This is just a cutscene.
yeah.
So
That's
Doom did not do much for me, to be honest. Fallout 4 was infinitely better. Even the Fallout Shelter game was really cool looking, which I can't play because it's only on
Android.
Apple products.
I think it will be out in Android. I think they said they're going to release it within a month.
Eventually, yeah.
But back to Doom real quick.
Yeah.
There's a really good, slightly, I guess, mildly off topic, but have you heard of Doom RL
Doom
or
RL.
Doom the roguelike?
No, I haven't actually.
Really good. I really recommend it. I know you're not really into traditional roguelikes like I am, but this one has an official tile set that was made by Derek Yu, who, as
Okay.
you know, is a really good artist.
Hmm.
So that's bundled with it, and it does a great job of taking the concept of Doom and applying it to the framework of a roguelike. It's called Doom RL, and it's fantastic. It's actually one of the more well-regarded traditional roguelikes out there these days because it's just that good. You pick a class, you pick perks along the way that feed into a build, and just a lot of smart tactical play, but using the Doom theme. It's good, really good.
Cool. Okay, so that's something different then.
Yeah. Did you know? Here's a bit of trivia. There was a Super Nintendo port of Doom, the original
Yes.
Doom.
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't know
I've
that.
corrupted it. I've corrupted it.
Really?
And I
Wow.
I didn't play it when it was first out, but I'll tell you one thing about it. That game is hard to play.
Really?
It's hard to look at.
I hear
Yeah,
it's
Doom does
pretty
not apply
painful.
that well.
Like I hear that it actually does impressive things as far as the Super Nintendo goes, according to this podcast where they happen to talk about it recently. So it's funny that we bring it up, but they talked about it and they said it was kind of a mess, but it does some impressive things considering it's even on the Super Nintendo.
Agreed. It's an impressive technical feat, but then you think about, well, it was just a way to get some of that success
Yeah.
and make some more money. So in essence, just play it on the PC. Doom 64 was great because it actually played well.
It worked.
It worked, yeah, and it looked good. And there were some improvements over the new levels, new weapons, new graphics engine, somewhat. And it was, that was good. But yeah, the Super Nintendo one is hard to play. So, yeah.
There's
But
also
the
a board
music
game.
gets really shitty when you corrupt it. Just saying, it's really fun.
I believe it. There was a board game for Doom. I'd like to check that out someday. But the two things I want most out of the Doom franchise are Chex Quest 2. You ever play Chex Quest?
Yes.
Yeah, Chex Quest. Actually made by id Software, by the way. It was just an actual conversion of Ultimate Doom. So
Really?
yeah, so it wasn't just like a Doom ripoff. Because I always wondered that. I was like, how did they get away with that? How did the Chex company get away with that? But no, they actually they contracted id Software, or at least a small team at id Software, to make that Chex Quest. So I want Chex Quest 2, motherfucker. Where's my Cheerios Quest? Or my goddamn it would just be called Puff in the Doom typeface, except yeah, like Cocoa Puffs. And I want and I want a sequel to the movie because the movie was awesome.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I don't think I've seen the Doom movie with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, our Lord and Savior, but if I
It's
do, I'll let you know how I think about it.
I showed it for Sci-Fi Sunday once, and it was amazing in the worst ways. There's a whole segment where which for any first-person shooter video game movie adaptation, they have to do this. You could probably already guess.
A
They
first
have
person segment, right?
Yep. Yeah, they put the camera into the first person view with the gun bobbing right in front of him, walking up to various people. You see the person or the demon scream, bang, shoots his head off, walks up to the next one, not even capturing any of the speed of the original Doom, like literally walk up to it. The demon jumps out in front of you. It wails for about
Gosh.
3 seconds without stopping. Bang, dead. Moving on. It does that for, I think, a good 5 minutes.
Hang on a second. I'll tell you how long. 5 minutes. You are correct. I just found it on YouTube. It is on YouTube in full. You can watch the whole first person scene. All you have to do is type Doom movie first person scene,
Yep.
and it is exactly as KY describes.
It's bad.
It's hysterical. It is hysterical. But
Oh my God.
anyway, yeah. So God, this is terrible. So anyway, Doom. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
and-
Whatever.
Then what else can we talk? Oh yeah. We should talk about the Hololens thing because did you know that Hololens was actually another lie?
Wait, really?
That this technology, first of all, has existed for a while, but not only that, but what we've seen, what they showed us, was a lie because
It
the
was
field
all
of
doctored
vision,
up.
yeah, the real field of vision that you get with this thing is like a small square, as opposed to your whole view. Excuse me. There's an article about it. There's a video about it, and apparently that whole thing was just it was like, here, take a look at this tech. It's going to be amazing. But again, as we have learned from E3, a lot of times tech and the finished product are two very different things.
Wow.
So I'm not excited about HoloLens. However, you saw the demo, right? And what did you think of the demo itself?
It was very impressive. I thought it looked awesome. I had no idea how true it was, so I can't say anything about that.
Let's just
Sorry.
talk about what we saw. We saw a person wearing glasses, and they put the glasses on the camera,
Uh-huh.
and we saw Minecraft being manipulated on a table.
Awesome. I think it's really good. It's kind of limiting because in Minecraft there's the draw distance, but otherwise it feels like you can see an unlimited amount of like area. Whereas this one, it's very limited to whatever's inside that square. You can't see things coming from a mile away, I guess, unless you zoom out really far, and that would presumably take a lot of CPU, a lot of computer power. So,
Right. Yeah.
But otherwise, I thought it was really impressive, and if they can actually pull it off, could be really good. If it really was all falsified, like just all like smoke and mirrors, I think they did a great job fooling me.
Yeah, they did. It wasn't
and-
all smoke and mirrors. Like the tech is real. It's just a matter of the field of view is just a small little square compared to what they showed us. And this is, again, I could be wrong, but this is what I've heard.
Yeah. Man, very quick correction since I happened to see it on this wiki article I have up. Chex Quest was not made by id. I made that up. It's made by Digital Cafe, but they got permission.
Okay. So they basically, but it's the same engine.
It's the Doom engine as a base and was considered a conversion.
Gotcha.
Made by a couple people, and that's what they're best known for making. Digital Cafe, the pinnacle of their achievements was Chex Quest.
Yeah, a free game that was included in Serial. And it's funny too because that was like couldn't someone almost consider that like one of the first like professionally made mods?
Probably.
If you think about it.
Yeah, like that was actually commercial. It says the promotion was quite successful, increasing Chex cereal sales by 248%. I remember I played it. I got Chex. I was a Cheerios kid, and I got Chex so I could play this thing.
Jesus.
And check this out. They released Chex Quest 2 the following year as a free download from their website.
Wow.
They
Maybe
eventually,
we
yeah.
should check that out.
Yeah, they have Chex Quest 3 that they started to make. They had promotional materials, but never actually came about, which is a bummer. But still, that's pretty interesting.
It's not an E3 until we get Chex Quest 3.
No, definitely not. But that's even longer awaited than Half-Life 3. So It'll
Right.
be a while, but development hell hype, like I said earlier. So we talked about Fallout 4 a lot during the previous podcast. Um, but there's some new stuff that they showed that we had no foresight regarding. What did you think of Fallout 4? Did you have anything you wanted to add to what we talked about last time?
Not specifically, like I don't want to go into too much detail about it because we did cover a lot, but I will say this. The game looks great. Seeing it the way it was presented makes it look even better. So people that are still complaining about it, like I think that's stupid because the game is looking fantastic.
Yeah.
But I will say that I love the building system and I love the weapon customization system and I love the diversity of environments that they're showing off. Like, Fallout 3 was very, it was a lot of copy paste. It was a lot of like dark kind of muddy brown, like bright yellow kind of post-apocalyptic. And it's like
Yeah.
in this game we're going to get that, but we're also going to get more things.
Right. I feel that there's more. It doesn't take the green overlay from 3 or the yellow overlay from 4. There's just no overlay that I could perceive. I might be blind, but it still has, like you said, the dinginess, the post-apocalyptic feeling from 3, and still had different kind of color feelings, like overall color themes per area. Like I remember they showed like a swampy type area that felt kind of purplish, or and the more bright
Yeah.
sunny areas near the actual vault. Did you see that someone triangulated vault? What was it? Vault 111? Was that what? I don't remember what the vault number was,
I don't know.
but they triangulated its actual position based on the very first trailer they showed of the game. They
And
said
they found out where it is in the game world or in
yes,
real life.
in the game world,
Wow.
because they said here, because they looked at like important landmarks, that you could see in the background of various pictures and the direction of where the sun was, and cross referencing it with like a real map of Boston, the location of those things, and they purport that the location of this vault is in this specific spot in game in relation at least to each other, in relation to what you can see, what landmarks you can see from each spot.
That's insane.
Totally
There are some
insane.
people out there that are just really dedicated.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Gameplay wise, I think it looked really good. I like that they're trying some new things. It looks like VATS is mostly the same, except instead of a total pause, it's just slowed down. I don't think that makes a huge difference, but at least it's different. Because I know I
Yeah.
talked about how I wanted something different from VATS, but it's something.
Well, we got something a little bit different. So, I mean, but it looks like it'll be more or less the same.
Yeah,
But that's fine. That's
yeah,
fine. I all I really need again is a really well-made game, well-crafted game, and it
totally.
looks like the stuff that I was most interested in from the demonstration was the customization.
Yeah, the
Basically.
weapon customization. It's mostly, I like the cosmetic changes. Like, even as a kid playing Final Fantasy VII, which was my first RPG that I really fully got immersed in, it blew my mind, or I guess, yeah, it kind of blew my mind how when you would switch weapons or armors, you could actually see that on the characters.
Right. Yeah.
Or like same thing in A Link to the Past, you change tunics and it actually changes the color scheme. I like that about Fallout 4, how it seems like modifications are relatively shallow in the idea that they mostly just change stats, like the gives you more accuracy, less fire rate or whatever. Like they're just stat mods essentially, but they give you different appearances, and
Yeah.
that I can get behind. It gives a lot of personalization. And someone in chat pointed out to me the other day when I was giving my impressions on stream, they said some of them do have some significant gameplay things. Like if you put a scope on it, you'll be able to zoom in. That's a significant change to a weapon. Or there are mods like you can change your shotgun into a laser shotgun that shoots lasers instead of slugs. Like stuff like that. Overall, it just sounds awesome. The customization with the weapons and the power armor. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that looked great too, man. Holy
Yeah.
fuck.
The way it
Yeah,
changes. Yeah.
they really, yeah, you can change any little piece of the power armor and it really does look amazing, and that kind of stuff makes me feel like they knew which direction was a good direction.
Yep. They took the accessibility of Fallout 3 and 4, or sorry, of 3 and New Vegas. They added a little bit more customization that harkens back to the original a bit. It just feels a little bit more involved in that you can mod each individual limb of your power armor to do different things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I like that they changed the UI to specifically suit the power armor. That was really nice because I mean we've had tricks like that, like in Metroid Prime, you can see Samus's visor, stuff like that, but never a more dynamic UI where the UI itself is still a UI, but it changes to match the power armor as opposed to if you're on your feet. That's
Right.
cool. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a good job. They're doing a good job. And it's like I said, it's coming out soon. We both agreed that it would come out this year, didn't we? And
Yeah.
it's what, November 11th, I think, or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
I think I said the later end of that quarter. I forget what I said exactly, but it's pretty close to what we agreed on.
We pretty much both kind of figured it
Nailed
out.
it.
And yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, it was kind of obvious, and it's been, again, this game has been in the works for probably a lot longer. They said it was in the works for quite a long time. So
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
shows. It really shows that they've been working on it a long time. It's not like Final Fantasy VII Remake, which anyone could think that they might have been working on it for so long just because it's been so long and people have been rumoring about it, for a
Rumoring.
long time.
rumor
But-
mongering.
Yeah, but there's no evidence of how long. It might have been worked on a long time, might have not. With Fallout 4, there's very clear evidence that they've been working on it for a long time and that it's, as is, very highly polished. It's exciting. I'm just...
Yeah.
It's exciting. That's all there is to say. I think it's going to be really good.
Well, that's pretty much how I feel about that game being. That's why it's my favorite of the show, and that's why it's my favorite of E3, but also probably my most anticipated game of this year because of all of the things that we just talked about, all the little things, and the amount of time and effort. And they didn't even fucking show the game until they were like, "Hey, we're ready."
Yeah. Smart.
You know, like no hype trailers. Here it is. It's just one trailer, one presentation. The game will be out in like 4 or 5 months. Enjoy it. And I'm like, yes, that's that's perfect. That's
That's it.
exactly right. But then, as we were saying, and this will be probably, I don't know if we have a whole lot else for E3, but I will say this. The thing that kills me about Nintendo is that there wasn't enough surprises. There was too many games that were basically just whatever.
Yeah.
And it was also stuff that we're getting within the next 6 months, right? Or
Yep.
7 months. But yet, the thing that disappoints me about every other conference is that they're showing stuff that's so far in the horizon that it's like, is this game
Yeah.
ever going to come out?
Yeah.
And-
Why
and-
show
and
anything
what am I
at this
even-
point?
So, I mean, you got to find a middle ground, I think. You got to have, I think that's the important thing. If
Bethesda
you can
did it,
show
yeah.
games that are coming out far into the future, you know, hype us up a little bit for them. That's cool. Like, let us know they're on the way. That's fine. But also, don't focus on those. You know, have a little clip here. Okay, great. I know these two games are coming out. Now, show me what's coming out this year.
Right. That was mostly Sony's entire focus. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it wasn't. Maybe we're just playing it out, making out to be that way because that's all anyone cared about in the Sony conference, at least in our minds. That's all. It overshadowed everything. But,
Sure.
but I think you're right. I think Bethesda won E3 in a way.
They did.
At least in
yeah.
regards to the fact that they didn't shoot their wad too early or too late. They worked on this game for a long time. They don't need to say Fallout 4, here's the reveal, it'll be ready who knows when. They said it's ready, it will be available this fall, and it looks awesome. It's new.
Right.
It's a real announcement. It's not like Nintendo stuff which we knew about. It was a surprise of sorts, and it hyped us up, and it's actually coming out really soon. It found that middle ground, like you said. In that regard, I think Bethesda won. I think they won E3.
I'm always tempted to say this person won.
Yeah.
You know, this company won, this game won. But I think in the end, it's like, yeah, I would say that was my favorite. I say they did the best job.
Mm-hmm.
Did they win necessarily? Maybe.
No one
Maybe
wins
not.
E3, let's face it.
Yeah, I mean, well, gamers kind of win E3 because we get to see what we can waste our money on. But at the same time, we also don't win E3 because there's also false promises. There's HoloLens technology that's not really, in existence. Like, apparently that was faked. And then there's other things that we see, and it's like, well, the Division from 2 years ago looks better than the Division now. So at the end of the day, who really wins E3? I'll tell you who wins. The people who make the money. And they do a good job. It's a show that's designed to promote and sell video games, and they do a good job with getting the gamers into it. I'll tell you who won E3 this year in terms of finance. Whoever the fuck is making Shenmue, they won. So congratulations, whoever that guy is with the big smile who came up on stage. You won. You got your money, and you got extra funding from Sony. You are a winner. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And then we award him the E3 trophy, which is, shaped like Ralph Bear, who is presumably overweight and doesn't make a good trophy, but we'll give it to him. The golden Ralph Bear, the berries. So,
well, that's it then, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's E3. I hope you guys had a very great experience listening to us.
Yeah.
And a couple small things, as always, on iTunes. If you'd like the podcast, review, rate, give us a review, even if it's not a good one. Just tell us what you think. It really helps. And if someone wants to contact us over email for listeners' mail, where would they do it, Vinny?
On the Vinecasts.
Yep.
At gmail.com.
Good.
Letter.
Nice job.
Letter 2. No, number 2.
And on Twitter, which is just at 2 on the Vine. Again, just the number 2.
Vine, which is the letter Vine.
Too Many Games coming up very soon. You've probably heard us talk about it, but look up Too Many Games. It's a convention happening in Philadelphia, and we'll both be there. So be sure to make it out if you can, and watch the Twitter, because we'll have more details about our next episode, which is going to be the long-awaited live or 2 on the Vine live. Yeah. Live on the Vine, I guess.
I want to give a new piece of information about Too Many Games. Just real quick, Friday. Look it up on the website, but Friday at 5 p.m. there is a panel, and that is our panel. I think for a little while I'm going to just be answering questions, because they just specifically signed me up. Yeah. But I'm also going to be bringing people up on stage. So, like, if you have questions for KY and Imakuni and whoever else Vinesauce streamer relation is there, that'll be then. And also, apparently, they're holding a gun to my head and making me do an autograph signing at 6:30 to 8 p.m., which I'd imagine was just something I was going to do if you bumped into me. But yeah, apparently they're putting me into a specific area to do that. So 6:30 to 8 p.m. Apparently the convention's not very big, so you'll find me. But yeah, I'll be somewhere over there, and that'll be this week coming up if you're listening to this new. And if you're not listening to this new, then this happened already. And if I'm not home by then, send help.
Should be up tomorrow, so I think it'll be up before Too Many Games. So you should be good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. That's E3.
Yep. And that's the podcast, I think, right? Or we have any more, or we're good?
Anything we've missed in E3 that we didn't talk about that we need to talk about? There was the Xbox controller. Did you want to give any brief thoughts on that?
Customizable $150 Xbox controller where you could take off buttons and put other buttons on. That's literally it.
No thanks. I mean, I'm sure it's useful to some people. I don't need it personally.
Yeah, it's got some extra functionality, like for your other fingers that you're not using. But I don't know. Whatever. $150. No thanks.
Yeah. No, I think that's it. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. So thanks for, I almost said thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for feeling. Guys.
Thanks for pooping.
Thanks. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
2 on the Vine. Cast.